Is this on? Yes, it's on? Okay, thank you for coming this afternoon. Before I start, I want to tell you that usually I don't use a script when I play here. I just kind of talk off the top of my head. But this program's a little bit personal to me, and I wanted to make sure that I said everything exactly the way I wanted to say it. So I hope you enjoy, feel moved, understand why this is personal to me. And also, I would request that you hold your applause till the end, because it's going to be about 35 minutes long, and it just feels better if we wait till the end for that. Thank you. " 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Throughout this year, we will experience lots of celebrating, fireworks, and red, white, and blue. But today, I hope to share a different kind of commemoration of the past 250 years. There are parts of our history we do not celebrate, but they are still part of our story, and we cannot erase them. We can celebrate the beautiful, but we must also remember the ugly, so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Our story begins much more than 250 years ago, when immigrants from European countries began to move into what was then the unfamiliar new land of the Western Hemisphere. They brought with them their music and their will to survive in what seemed like, to them, a wild and uncivilized land. Their haunting folk melodies expressed the bittersweet emotions of melancholy and longing they often experienced in this strange new land. With the expansion to new territories and the will to thrive, the settlers clashed with the people who had occupied this land for centuries before them. Many treaties were made and broken, but did not soothe the conflict. In 1830, a government order called for the forcible removal of all indigenous people in the eastern half of the country: the Miami and the Potawatomi, the Cherokee and the Creek, the Wyandot, the Shawnee, and the Seneca, and others were all forced to walk to a set-aside Indian territory west of the Mississippi River. Many died from exposure, disease, and starvation while on these journeys, remembered as the Trail of Tears and the Trail of Death. The Blue Ridge Mountains still appear blue-gray, half covered by mist and shrouded in quiet mystery, as they did when they were home to the Cherokee hundreds of years ago. The mountains echo the ancient drums of the Cherokee amid the hymns of the early settlers in that region. If you close your eyes and listen carefully, you can hear them. Slavery began primarily to meet the massive labor demands of the expanding colonies. Attempts to enslave native populations failed because they were too susceptible to European diseases. The first ship carrying Africans in chains arrived in Virginia in 1619. A new tradition of folk music was developed by the enslaved Africans out of a need for a sense of community that came from singing together about shared struggles. Often called Black sorrow songs, spirituals became both a survival strategy, providing emotional release, and a subtle form of resistance with coded messages. A poor wayfaring stranger is an example of a sorrow song. The words reflect the pain and suffering of the enslaved while also expressing immense faith and hope. Lyrics about heaven or crossing Jordan reference the Underground Railroad and the journeys to the free state. There were those in the past who were strong and brave enough to stand up to the evils of the day. In 1845, James Russell Lowell, a leading abolitionist, wrote a poem entitled "The Present Crisis." Part of that poem was set to an existing tune and became the hymn, "Once to Every Man and Nation." The theme of these words is clear. Now is the time to decide between truth and falsehood, good and evil, darkness and light. Martin Luther King Jr. often quoted this hymn over 100 years later as he spoke out against war and segregation in the 1960s. 200 years later, these words still apply. Now is the time. You may notice that the arranger of this piece had a little help from Beethoven at the beginning and at the end. Make Me a Channel of Your Peace, a beautiful song written in the 1960s, has often been wrongly attributed to a prayer written by St. Francis of Assisi. However, this prayer originated in France from an unknown author and became popularized in the 1920s by a French Franciscan priest, even though the words were written nearly 700 years after the life of St. Francis. I'm pretty sure he would have agreed that our commitment should still be to bring love, hope, light, and harmony into situations where there is hatred, despair, darkness, and conflict. Who would have thought that Kermit the Frog could be a role model to lead us into a new and hopeful future? The Rainbow Connection was sung by Kermit in the first Muppet movie in 1979. It's a hopeful song. It's recognizing that even if now is sad, happy will happen sometime in the future, especially if we work together. It's not too late. We can't give up. Listen to the lyrics. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. The next song requires no introduction. It was written in the 1950s and has become a signature composition devoted to world peace. History has shown us that even throughout the ugly times, there have been those who have been brave enough to make the decision to commit to honesty, kindness, and unity. In spite of the ugly, or maybe because of it, it's more important now than ever for those of us who choose truth and integrity to let our lights shine, to show the world that we have hope for the next 250 years. It may be just one little light, but when we stand together, it becomes a beacon that can overcome hatred, despair, and adversity. So let your little light shine. Thank you for coming. Take your light back and let it shine.